Hey everyone, it's Kayla, and today I'm doing my quarterly wrap-up number 2, and this will cover what I read in April, May, and June. And I know this is a little late, but I was moving and life got crazy, so better late than never. I'm uploading this video. So let's get started because I don't want this video to be 1,000 years long. Let's be real here. So I read 4 volumes of Chew. I read volume 6, Space Cakes, volume 7, Bad Apples, volume 8, Family Recipes, and volume 9, Chicken Tenders. This series is about a guy named Tony Chew, and every time he takes a bite out of something, he sees its complete history. He's a sci-bopath, which means he can bite an apple and know what tree it grew on, what pesticides were used on it, or he could bite a corpse and know who committed the murder and all of the details involving that. So he gets recruited by the Food and Drug Administration to solve some cases, and I absolutely love this series. It's funny, I love the art style, I love all the characters, and these 4 volumes took a giant step even further, and I've given all volumes 5 stars easily. Love it so much. And this is what the art looks like. I just wanted to show you a sample. For those of you that aren't really into sexually explicit comics and things like that, this doesn't really have a lot of that content, so I highly recommend you guys check this out. I also read Lumberjanes Volume 1, Beware the Kitten Holy by Noelle Stevenson, and I loved this. This is so much fun. It's about a girls' camp, and these girls are awesome and kick-ass, and I absolutely loved the artwork. It's so colorful and bold and vivid, and I really enjoyed that aspect a lot. And here's some more examples. And Noelle Stevenson wrote Nimona. I'm sure you saw that floating around BookTube lately. She also did the cover artwork for Fangirl, and I just love her style, and I can't wait to get the 2nd volume, and I think I gave this 5 stars. I also read Sex Criminals Volume 1, One Weird Trick, and Sex Criminals Volume 2, Two Worlds, One Cop, and this series is about a couple who, when they have sex, they can stop time. So what do? They decide to rob a bank. Why not? It's so funny. And the first volume I only gave 3.5 stars. I wasn't really connected to the characters, but volume 2 I gave 4 stars. It was a step up for the characters and the world building expansion, and I'm really enjoying the series. It's hilarious. It's very, very inappropriate, so I highly recommend reading it when you're alone. Let me try to find some artwork that I can show you on this video. No. Maybe. No. Oh, no. No. This is what the art looks like. And yes, just poke myself in the nose. I also read Deadly Class Volume 2, Kids of the Black Hole by Rick Remender, and I'm having conflicting feelings about this series. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. It just bothers me, and I can't put my finger on it. And I spoke with Lindsay from Lindsay Ray about this, and she feels the same way. Like, it's just messed up. It is just, that's all there is to it. It is just messed up. For those of you that don't know what this is, it's about an academy training assassins, and there's things involved, and the villains aren't my favorite. I gave this trade 3.5 stars, but I think I should change it to like 2.5 or 3 because I'm just not feeling it. So then I read Memory Man by David Baldacci on my Kindle. I absolutely love David Baldacci. He's one of my favorite authors of all time. I read everything by him, and he writes thrillers and mysteries and like government thrillers. This is book 1 of a new series. Our main character is named Amos Decker, and he has hyperthymesia, and I believe that's how you say it, I hope. He can recall every single detail of memory down to the most littlest detail. He also has synesthesia, and I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if it's not. But basically, he sees colors where there's not colors. He associates objects and numbers to colors. I really like how David Baldacci must have done his research about these conditions, and I really found it fascinating to read about. I loved it. It's like a mystery. I think I gave it 4 stars, and I can't wait to see where the series goes. So then I read An Ember in the Ashes by Sahaba Tahir. I read this around the time that the hype was exploding, but maybe a little after. I was really excited to read this, and I did really enjoy it. I just had a few issues. Well, first of all, the map in this book is not an issue because wait till you see this beauty. It is so beautiful. I love it so much. But along with the map, the issue that I had the most is that this map is so gorgeous, and all we saw of it is like this little section. This book takes place in an empire that kind of reminds you of the Middle East, and it features 2 main characters, and it's told in dual perspectives. Our main girl character, Leia, she is a slave, and her brother is arrested for treason, so she comes into contact with the rebels, and she decides to work with them to rescue her brother, but also to infiltrate the biggest military academy as a spy. And at this academy she meets Elias, who is our other main character, and he is training to be a mask, which is like a deadly assassin. And yes, our story goes from there, and there's, you know, political intrigue and corruption and really, really, really evil characters. Whew, the Commandant. Ooh, I really enjoyed the setting. It was like a desert Middle Eastern setting, and I love that so much. But like I said, I just wish we saw more of that, and I also didn't appreciate the love rhombus in this book. And by rhombus, I mean there's like 5 points going on. Like, no, just why? Why is that necessary? And I think I gave this 3.5 or 3 stars. I will be picking up the sequel. So finally, after a year of having this book, I picked up Angel Fall by Susan E. This was fantastic. It's a post-apocalyptic story about the angel apocalypse and what happens when they invade Earth and just tear everything to shit, basically. And I was so surprised by this book. I never expected it to be as dark as it was, and twisty and just devastating. And I loved our main character. Penryn is just so strong. She just is looking out for her family, and those are her priorities, and I love it so much. And she also knows how to protect herself and defend herself, and I just really appreciated her character in this story. And I definitely gave this 5 stars. It's action-packed right from the beginning, and the hype is well-deserved, guys, so check it out. Then I read Everything by Nicola Yoon. This book is about a girl who is allergic to everything, so she can't really interact with the world or go out of the house, and a new boy moves in next door, and it's about their relationship and how they form their friendship and things like that. And I really adored it. It was cute. I read it in a day. I highly recommend this book if you love contemporary. I don't read a lot of contemporary, but in this case I absolutely loved it, so definitely check it out. I gave it 4 stars. So then I picked up Walk on Earth a Stranger by Rae Carson. This is an arc, and it comes out in September. I will have a spoiler-free and spoiler talk review for you on the release date, and I'm just so excited to share my thoughts with you guys. I freaking loved this book. Loved it. And for those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that I'm obsessed with The Girl of Fire and Thorns by Rae Carson, her YA fantasy trilogy. It's a very promising first book to a trilogy. It takes place in 1850s America during the gold rush, and it follows our main character Leah, who can sense gold. She has the power to sense gold in the earth. So naturally this could be a huge problem considering everyone was obsessed with finding gold in America back then. I'm not really going to go into the summary much because I don't want to spoil anything, but something happens that causes Leah to have to travel across the country to California, and this whole book is her journey to California. I love journey stories, and even though it's set in 1850s America, Rae Carson is brilliant at world building. The way she expands the world, the way she slowly builds and builds and builds, and I just love it so much. You get so immersed into the culture presented in this story. Rae Carson also has a knack for creating such vivid, strong female characters, and it's just really eye-opening to me what life was like back then, and it just makes me appreciate being a woman of the 21st century. And I gave this 4.5 stars just because like the first 50 pages were a little slow, but I'm probably going to change it to 5 because it's just so good. So good. Oh, and once again, shout out to my amazing friends who were at BEA and got this signed for me. I love you all so much. So then I picked up Rat Queens Volume 2. This is about a group of females who are just so awesome and kick-ass, and this is what the art looks like. What I especially found awesome in this volume is that we saw a little bit of backstory into each of the characters, a little more than we did in the first volume. I highly recommend this if you like kick-ass females and adventure and action, and yeah, definitely check this out. And I gave this 4 stars. And then I picked up American Born Chinese by Jean Louise Yang, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This is a graphic novel, and it's quite different from what I'm normally used to. It follows a young American Chinese boy who struggles with his identity, and there's 3 different storylines going on, and in the end you see how they all come together, and I liked that aspect. I was actually surprised by that. And this graphic novel can definitely be considered a commentary on racism, and I really appreciate that a lot. I think the author did a fabulous job with it. And this is what the art style looks like. Yes, and I think I gave this 3 stars. On my Kindle, I also read Blood Infernal by James Rollins and Rebecca Cantrell, and this is the 3rd and final book in the Order of the Sanguines trilogy, and this series is basically the Da Vinci Code meets vampires, and I freaking loved it. Loved the adventure, loved the characters, loved this conclusion. I had no complaints at all. Easy 5 stars. I should probably do some author videos about my favorite adult authors. Let me know if you'd like to see that. On my Kindle, I also read The Martian by Andy Weir. This is pretty popular these days because the movie's coming out in the fall featuring Matt Damon, and it's about a guy who gets left behind on a Mars mission because his team thinks he's dead, but he's really not, so he's stranded on Mars and he has to survive. Our main character, Mark Watney, is just fantastic. He's hilarious. I love the way the story is told through his journal entries. You really hear his voice come out really strong, and he's just so hilarious, and I just know is going to make an awesome movie. But I only gave it 4 stars because it fell flat in a couple places for me. There's a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo and a lot of explanation, and if I was into science, I would really appreciate that, and I still actually appreciate it because all the research that must have went into making this book. But at the same time, I didn't really enjoy it because there was literally paragraphs where I would just like skim read because I had no idea what I was reading. So I couldn't really fully appreciate all the science that was presented in the story. But yes, I cannot wait for the movie. I will definitely go see it. And the last 2 things I read in those 3 months were the first 2 volumes of Alex and Ada. This is a comic series, actually a comic trilogy. I guess it's not really a trilogy because these are trade paperbacks, but whatever. The 3rd and final volume of this series comes out this week, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really enjoying getting immersed into the world. For those of you that don't know what this series is about, it's about a male human who finds himself the owner of a female android, and it's set in the future where technology has just exploded. I mean, people even have computers in their heads to communicate with other people. It really reminds me of the world of I, Robot, if you ever watched that movie with Will Smith, and I love it so much. And I think I gave the first volume 4 stars. It was just okay. It was a good setup. Then I gave volume 2 5 stars. This is a slower paced comic series, and I'm just enjoying every second of it. And I'm actually really sad that it's concluding with the 3rd volume because I wanted more. Alright guys, that's it for my quarterly wrap up number 2. Covered everything I read in April, May, and June. Let me know below if you have read any of this stuff or if you're interested in reading any of it, and I will talk to you all soon and see you all in another video. Bye!